Hey guys, how are you doing? Let's just
Good afternoon.
Hey, how are we doing today, guys?
Oh, doing great.
Okay, so let me go ahead and share this. We are going to be talking about. We got some weather stuff to talk about, and we're talking about Beryl. And everybody knows that this hurricane is coming up. Let me make sure that that everybody is all tagged here. And Brandon, thank you for joining us. Brandon, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll talk about Frankie. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yes, I'm Brandon Houck out of southern Alberta here in Canada. So yes, I've been doing weather since I was a kid and fascinated by it. And now I'm kind of a weather radio host now. So yes, it's never stop weathering, I guess.
And it's definitely weathering down here in the south. Frankie, how's it going, buddy?
Great so far. They got a really bad hurricane hitting for Houston, Texas, on 4:00 p.m. on this Monday coming. It's going to bring really bad hurricane conditions, high winds and heavy rain. Houston, Corpus Christi, and the south coast of Texas going to bring extremely bad weather conditions.
Okay, so we are understanding this, and I'm in Houston, so I'm actually getting I'm going to be the one that's going to be hit on this. But right now, this hurricane it's already hit landfall in Mexico. Where is it right now?
It's going to make a landfall pretty close to Houston and Corpus Christi, Texas.
About what time?
Sometime Sunday over in Monday.
Okay, Paul P on Facebook says seeing storms in Houston already. So,
oh yes.
So Brandon, I gotta ask you, okay, what is causing this storm, and where do you see it turning?
So
it's going to turn to the north. It's going to turn to the north. That means it's going to bring extra tropical storm later on the week in Ontario.
Okay, we're going to get to that here. Brandon, go ahead.
Yes. So what we have in the Gulf of Mexico is fairly warm Gulf waters here. So we have temperatures in the Gulf at least, I'd say 30 degrees or I'd say I'm going to switch over to 90 degrees at least. So 9 degrees Fahrenheit. And
are you there, Brandon?
His internet froze up.
His internet froze up. Okay. There you are.
So it's like,
okay, go ahead.
So like big bathtub of very hot water, and the storm itself, they like this kind of environment, these types of storms, hurricanes, etc. And when Beryl first got its act together here, it became very quickly the strongest storm at the end of June on record, and category 5 it got up to. But while it went through the Caribbean area, it has since weakened as it hit landfall in Mexico earlier. So it's gone down to tropical storm status, but it could make an adjustment up to hurricane status before eventually the storm itself makes landfall later this afternoon and through the evening and overnight hours of tonight, at least. Yes.
What do you see the hurricane level at? Do you see it as a hurricane 1, or do you think we're going to get up to 3 or 4?
At least I'm going to go with at least a category 1 hurricane for the south coast of Texas there. Yes.
What do you think, Frankie?
It's going to be category 1 hurricane in south coast of Texas.
Okay. So let's talk about areas that are being impacted with the hurricane. It's going to hit South Texas, but Brandon, I'm going to go ahead and pull your screen up here.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about, the path of this weather and where it's heading, and where in the United States is going to be, who's going to heavily get impacted in the United States, because it's not just the South that the weather's affecting.
Yes, so we'll show you the kind of the future forecaster here, but what we're looking at right now is satellite radar pictures. So we've got the storm right here. There's the center of it. At this time, still tropical storm, but still trying to produce another eye wall here. So we'll keep an eye on that as it moves up the coast here. And then there's your thunderstorms in the Houston area. You can see the lightning quite active at this time. Areas west, northwest of Houston there. And I'm going to switch on over to the kind of the future forecaster here to show you where the storm's going to be heading next in the next 24 to 48 hours. I'll plot the pressure on here as well. It'll give you a pretty good idea where the center of the storm is going to make landfall, at least. And I'm looking at areas like Lake Jackson here is where the storm itself is going to likely make landfall. So there it is, making its move to a pretty close to Cat 1 status here. And there's the intensification as the storm gets, this is about 10 o'clock Sunday night. So that's tonight. And then there's the storm making landfall somewhere, I'd say, early Monday morning, just early, kind of after midnight there, right around the midnight hour, right near between Victoria, Lake Jackson, Texas there. That's where we're probably going to see landfall. And the heaviest rain, etc., will be on the, I'd say, the northern edge of this. And further south, you're also going to get into some of the stronger winds as well. And we'll plot on the winds as you see there into miles per hour. Also show you the wind gusts here and show you how strong these winds are going to be on the south coast of Texas. So going with 60 to 70 miles per hour at least, or 70 to 80 at least, as the storm makes landfall. Now, this is not going to be like Harvey, where it sat there for days and produced a significant amount of flooding. This is going to be a lot quicker of a storm system here. So we're probably going to see, I'd say, fairly strong winds. We'll take a look at rainfall accumulation here as well. So this is the highest amounts of rain. I'll switch this over to inches. So at least 4 to 5 inches of rain between Houston and Victoria. And then we could also see some significant rainfall numbers up into the Tyler area and just the outskirts of Dallas as well. And that's going to be the general track of this thing as it becomes extra post-tropical after making landfall and eventually moving into Oklahoma, and Arkansas as well. So this thing, there it goes right there, heading up into Arkansas into Tuesday.
And that's when it's going to start desolating, right?
Oh yeah, it'll be dissipated. It'll be tropical depression status, but still producing a lot of rain and wind and thunderstorms as it tracks its way. It's probably going to make its way towards the Great Lakes as well, the lower Great Lakes into Ontario and Michigan areas later this week as post-tropical. So it's going to be moving fairly quickly. So that's why we're not going to see the same scenario as what we saw with Harvey.
Yeah. I've been getting notifications down here in Houston about cyclones.
Oh, yeah.
Do you anticipate cyclones down here, or what do you think?
Oh. So would that be tornadoes we're talking about?
Right. Tornadoes. Yep.
Yeah, tornadoes. Yeah, these types of systems can generate tornadoes. Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Frankie, your thoughts?
It's going to be really bad. It's going to cause flood and sewers will back up the streets. You have to get to the really higher ground as you can.
Okay. Paul was also asking about in Houston.
It's going to bring flood surge in Houston and Galveston and Corpus Christi.
Okay. How much inches of rain do you think
we're going to see?
6 to 12 inches of rain.
6 to 12. Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys have a question, you could call us 845-442-5683. If you're curious what the weather's or how the rain's going to impact your area, give us a call, 845-442-5683. We're on the air with Frankie MacDonald and Brandon Houck. Go ahead, Brandon, you were going to say?
Yeah, so taking a look at the potential for storm surge here, and I think the storm surge could be, pretty good potential for storm surge, especially on areas just outside of Houston there. Could be up to 6 meter high waves, 5 to 6 meter high waves. So nothing too wild, but that's enough to produce that storm surge on the coastal sections outside of Houston there, especially to the north there. Which is where you're probably going to see the best chance of getting into any type of storm surge scenario here in the next 24 hours. Yeah.
So it's going to be crazy. The weather's going to be nuts. A lot of thunder, possible high winds. That's going to be carrying this all the way up north. Well, north, going towards the northeast direction. So what about like areas like Austin, Texas, Amarillo? What those outlining areas of Texas? What do you think is the impact going to be there?
Yeah, for areas like Austin, you're right on the edge of it here. So you're probably gonna get a little bit of rain and wind out of it, but nothing too substantial in Austin, I'd say. Yes.
So how does a person prepare for a hurricane?
Make sure you have your rubber boots, raincoats, rain suits ready. Make sure to stay indoors and don't go outside. Stay away from beaches and don't go near stores. Make sure for your medical kits, emergency kits, flashlights, candles, crank phone, radio, extra batteries, battery out, just bottled water ready as well. It's going to be a bad one.
No surfing. Don't go surfing.
Don't go surfing either.
How about paddle boating?
Oh,
Not even that.
Maybe on the streets of Houston.
Right, exactly. So, but so Beryl's coming in. What's your prediction on this overall hurricane season?
Hurricane season. Well, with Beryl already started, I think it's going to be quite a busy hurricane season this year. I'd say probably a lot busier than last season so far. So, yeah, it's going to be one of those hurricane seasons.
You don't think we'll see like a Katrina or a Harvey?
We'll probably at least see 3 to 5 major hurricanes. We've already had one, but yeah, at least 3 to 5 major hurricanes this season, at least in the Atlantic side.
And how do they come up with these names for these hurricanes?
Oh boy, that part I probably don't know the full answer to all the names, why they went with those names, etc. But I know they change them they retire a lot of the names, like Katrina, for example, and Harvey. Those names are retired, so they don't use those again. But then kind of like, we'll use Gerald or Jose again in 3-5 years. So it's changed the names up a little bit, but yeah. Okay. So far, there has never been a Hurricane Brandon yet. So maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Okay, I got a caller on the phone. Let's go to the phone lines right now. Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, hey, my name is Paul. I live in Houston. A lot of experience here with hurricanes. Just wondering how you guys expect this year being busier than normal, how we expect to see things here on this coast.
Yes, good question indeed. So yeah, with hurricanes, and they go wherever they want to go. So it could hit, as this one's going into Houston for that matter, but there could be hurricanes that go to more so New Orleans, Florida coast, etc. So they go certain directions. So that's kind of tough to pin that down, who's going to get hit with the strongest hurricane. But easily we could be in for that fairly busy hurricane season thanks to the La Nina on the west coast, keeping the ocean waters high in the Gulf of Mexico. Yes.
Frankie, your insight?
It's going to be really bad hurricane season for the rest of the year. September's the dead center of the hurricane season.
And we're in July now, so that's 2 months out.
Oh, yeah.
September's the dead center of hurricane season.
All right. Paul, go ahead and give a shout out to Frankie.
Frankie, you're one of my favorites. I love watching you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we're talking hurricanes. We're talking about the weather. Do you think that the weather is going to be bad enough where it's going to cause a lot of power outages? And if
it's going to cause a lot of power outage.
Okay. And then how does somebody prepare for a power outage?
Have your extra food ready and have your extra batteries ready. Flashlights, crank up radio, extra batteries, generators, battery outfit, and bottled water ready as well.
What about food? Food-wise?
Have your canned food ready as well.
Break open, get that can opener out.
Yeah.
Everyone. Because I mean, the power outages could actually last. I mean, some places when there's big storms like this could last sometimes up to a week, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Like when Hurricane Fiona hit Sydney, Nova Scotia in September 2022.
Oh yes, that was a bad one. Yeah.
And that one, you were out of power for how long, Frankie?
For a whole week.
Wow.
Holy, yeah.
Yep. You can't DoorDash at that point.
Nope.
So, yep. So, anyways, anything you guys want to wrap up or talk about as far as about the weather? And I'm going to open the floor to you two.
Okay. Yes. I'll take a look at Beryl here on the National Weather Service on the key messages. This is I'm trying to get the one that's this one right here. So these are the key messages on still Tropical Storm Beryl as of 10 o'clock Central Daylight Time, but I have feelings they're going to transition to that hurricane there in the next few hours. So we're just on the verge of going back into hurricane status here, but there's a danger. Life-threatening storm surge inundation along the coast of Texas from north entrance of the Padre Island National Park seashore to Sabine Pass, including Matagorda Bay, Galveston Bay. Residents in those areas should follow any advice given by local officials and follow evacuation orders. Number 2, Beryl is expected to bring damaging hurricane force winds to portions of the Texas coast tonight and early Monday. That's why they have that hurricane warning in effect from the Baffin Bay to the San Luis Pass. Preparation should be rushed to completion before the tropical storm conditions begin late today. And then the flash and urban flooding, some of which may be locally considerable, is expected across portions of the middle and upper Texas coast, Gulf Coast, and eastern Texas today through Monday night. River flooding is also expected. And then the other thing got to be concerned about is rip currents will be causing life-threatening beach conditions through Monday across much of the Gulf Coast. So not just for Texas, but I'd say right in Louisiana there at least too. Could be dealing with some significant rip currents. So beach goers should heed warnings, flags, and advice of lifeguards, local officials before venturing into the water. There we go. So those are the key messages.
Okay, perfect. Well, I do want to thank you guys for coming around and updating us on the hurricane status. Is this something that we should be? Do you see this as being like a life-threatening hurricane, or do you think it's just going to cause a bunch of
damage?
Yeah,
definitely a bunch of damage. Since it's still going to be Category 1, so it's on the low side, so there's definitely going to be damage. There will be, especially coastal sections could get quite dangerous in the next 24 hours. Yeah.
So are you suggesting people like that are down by the Lake Jackson, Galveston area for them to leave the area? And
yes, leave the area.
Brandon, you think they should leave the area?
Yes, they should.
Probably best go to higher ground at least. Yes, especially if you're right on the water, you're sleeping on a boat or something. Yeah, not the best idea.
Probably not. You'll be riding the waves for sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I want to thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Frankie MacDonald.
And Joe, at this Thursday night's Meteorological Weather Report, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic, 9 p.m. Central, I'll be on Meteorological Weather Report.
Awesome. Excellent. All right, Brandon. All right, Frankie. Thank you guys so much for taking your time.
Hey, if you want to follow me on social media, my Blue Sky's at Frankie MacD, my Twitter's at Frankie MacD, my Facebook is Frankie MacDonald, my Instagram is Frankie MacD194, my TikTok is FrankDonald194, my Clapper is FrankDonald194, my Twitch is FrankDonald194, my Snapchat is Frankie ABC1, my YouTube channel Stocks Wolves, and my LinkedIn is Frank Down. Best luck to you, Frank Down. You're listening to Roger the Wild Child Show Special Edition for Hurricane Beryl.